We are going to discuss BED 002 Week 8 Part 3. We have already talked about adjustment, we have talked about maladjustment, we have talked about the characteristic which defines or the characteristic which are seen in a maladjusted individual. Today we are going to talk about maladjustment and values. A variety of stressful events can cause maladjustment. Some common causes in adults include death of a family member or friend, relationship issues or divorce, separation, major life changes, illness or a health issue, in you or someone whom you are close with. For example, you may just find out that you are diabetic, or you may just find out that you have a terminal illness, or you may just find out that your relative have a terminal illness, or moving to a new place or a new house because you are so comfortable in your previous house, you move suddenly to a new house, to a new neighborhood where you do not know those neighbors, because you have moved to a new place. Then sudden disasters in terms of suddenly there is this loss of business, or you suddenly have lost your job, then economic problems in terms of money troubles, and so on and so forth. So these are what causes maladjustment, and these maladjustment are seen in adults, and there are certain features or behavior which are typical of a maladjusted person. So what are these features or behavior which are typical of a maladjusted person? Let us discuss some of them. Clothing. A maladjusted person, a person who is not well adjusted, will dress inappropriately, like the clothes will be unpressed, would be torn, would be wearing dirty shoes, would be wearing unfit clothes. Then the physical postures or the physical features would be, the person would be like put the head down, or would avoid eye contact. Then the physical appearances would be unbrushed hair, untrimmed fingernails, bitten fingernails, dirty hands, unwashed face. So these are common features of individual who is maladjusted. Then we have what is called social behaviors, like nose picking, inappropriate gestures, touching others, vulgar comments. And also the maladjusted person will have what is called psychosomatic disturbances, which would mean the person will have what is called complications in bowel movement, would have nausea, would be vomiting, would overeat, and would also suffer from other pains. It could be eating disorder. The person may be anorexic, certain pains in terms of not being able to adjust well in the society. So these are various characteristics which defines, or these are some of the features you see in the maladjusted adults. These are, like I said, in terms of clothing, the clothing would be unfit, unpressed, would be torn. The physical appearance would always be, most of the time, the maladjusted individual would bend down, would avoid eye contact, then would make inappropriate gestures, would be making vulgar comments, then would have complication in bowel movement, would overeat, would have eating disorder, would not be able to eat well. so on and so forth. So these are some of the common characteristics which can be seen in a maladjusted adults. Now, when we talk about maladjusted children are more often than not academically less able, owing to the following disadvantages. A maladjusted children, a child who is not well adjusted, will have what is called weak concentration and short attention span, resulting in fickleness with job at hand, thus hampering their learning in both knowledge and skills. Then long-term experience of school failure does not only impede their interest and motivation in academic work, but also diminishes their confidence in other aspects, particularly in new learning areas. So when we talk about children who are not well adjusted, maladjusted children will have weak concentration, will not show interest and motivation in academic work. They will be having very low level of confidence. Then they would not be taking interest in any new areas of learning. Then because of this low level of self-esteem, of self-concept, and low confidence, it would hinder them in further academic achievements. Because of their low academic attainment, this would lead to what is called being maladjusted in their further stages of life. However, their academic attainment may not be comparable to their intelligence and social maturity. This discrepancy causes reluctance in accepting teaching material which is lower in level than that of pupils of their same age. At times, a child may be maladjusted because their academic attainment may not be comparable to the intelligence and social maturity, which means that a particular child may be more matured, maybe more intelligent in terms of or compared to the other students in his classroom, compared to other peer group members. So at times, the child who is more intelligent or the child who is more matured may not accept the teaching material which he or she feels is lower in level, and he or she feels that they are better in intelligence in terms of being more intelligent or being more mature than members of the same class or their peer group. So they are reluctant in accepting the teaching material, which makes them maladjusted. So a child who is weak academically, a child who does not show interest in the academic work, a child who does not show interest in the teacher's teaching is maladjusted. On the other hand, like I said, a child who feels that he or she is more matured, he or she is more intelligent than the other classmates in the classroom, which cause him or her to accept teaching material because he or she feels that what they are teaching in the class is lower than their intelligent capacity, would also make him maladjusted. The maladjusted child or student is maladjusted because they are not appreciated in the school environment, and both the child or both the children and their families have no positive expectation on academic or school achievement, thus lowering children's motivation to learn. So because of maladjustment, because the child is weak in class, because the child performs very badly academically, he or she has what is called non-academic ability and there is no academic achievement, the child or the children or the families have no positive expectation on academic or the school achievement, so it lowers the child's motivation or the children's motivation to learn. So this leads to what is called maladjustment in the child. So how do you deal with children who are maladjusted? How do you deal with children who are not able to adjust properly in life? There are certain strategies or there are certain intervention which can help a maladjusted child or children. The strategies and interventions related to the education of maladjusted children should be geared to their specific needs and aim at helping them to develop positive values and behaviors. It is certainly helpful if the education system, their family situation and the unvariable factors in society can be improved. So when we talk about maladjusted children, they are maladjusted because it could be because of certain economic conditions, because of certain social causes, it could be because of psychological problems. So you should be able to focus on their specific needs and aim at helping them to develop positive values and behaviors according to their specific needs. Because children who are maladjusted lack the social skills necessary to interact effectively with peers and engage in healthy cooperative activities. So if they are not able to adjust with their peer group, with their classmates, they become socially deviant in the later part of their life and they reflect what is called socially deviant behavior. So it is very important to address this issue of maladjustment in children, because if you do not address these issues, then it would become problematic for them and for the society in future. So what are these strategies? What are these interventions to help maladjusted children? For example, you can do by engaging in regular communication. The child can begin to learn the principles of socialization. For example, you can set aside 5 to 10 minutes daily and devote this time to making small talk with the child. Introduce the child to places where he can interact with peers in play. So this would improve his socializing skills. The child would try to interact more with his peer group. Visit popular parks or recreation areas in which children commonly play. This would lead to the child coming out of his or her shy nature. Encourage the child to engage in play with his peers. Introduce the child to kind and helpful same age peer group. Some children are particularly adept at working with peers who struggle. So when you mix or when you make a child interact with a child who is kind and helpful, this kind and helpful child would encourage the child who is shy to talk more, to socialize more, and the child who is shy would gain confidence in talking, would socialize more. So it is important that if you know of a polite child, you can ask this polite child to buddy up with the maladjusted child and engage in conversation or participate in a play. Ask the polite child to help the child come out of his or her shy or timid nature. Then also, you discuss misbehavior with the child. It is not effective to merely punish the child for misbehavior. It is not the only solution to a problem by physically punishing the child for misbehavior. It is important to discuss the misbehavior. Why did the child misbehave? In place of punishment, if you could have conversation with this child, explain to the child, explain to him or her why what he or she did was wrong, so she can better understand why she or he should not repeat the behavior. So it is important to discuss the misbehavior with the child, because the child may not know that what he did was something bad, because he may have been socialized in that way, not knowing that his action is bad. So it is important to discuss the misbehavior with the child. Merely physically punishing the child it may not be enough. Having a conversation with the child, explaining to him that his misbehavior is wrong, is another step, is another strategy. When we talk about strategies, or when we talk about interventions, the benefits of adjustment is that because of these adjustment, the child will become a better human being. The child his circle of friends will grow. Then when the circle of friends will grow, then the child would start adjusting with people. No matter how tough the situation is, the child can confidently tackle it. However, if the child becomes or continues to be maladjusted, if the child is not adjusted properly as a member of the society, then the child will grow up to be, in most cases, would grow up to be a deviant child, would portray certain socially deviant behavior. Then the child would harm the person, would become aggressive. Then the person, he or she will not be able to tackle the situation, because the child is not taught how to behave properly as member of the society, because he would think that his behavior is accepted as normal in the society. So a maladjusted child will become more or less a socially deviant adult in future if interventions or in strategies, if the child is not helped with certain strategy, or if the child is not helped with certain interventions in his or her life. So when we talk about maladjustment, it is very important that as a parent, as a teacher, when I say parent and teacher, because for children, family is the first school of learning, and after family, many years are spent in educational institutions. So it is from the school, and it is from the parents first, the parents and the school, wherein the child learns how to behave, how to be a well adjusted individual. So it is important that the family, it is important that the school teaches the child the relevant social behavior, so that the child becomes a well-adjusted person in life. Dear learners, there are a few activities which I would like you to do in your free time. When you feel that you have become very angry, when you feel that certain people have harmed you verbally, or you want to react, or you want to react to that situation, it is always better to keep calm, and let's say you count 1 to 10, starting with counting from 1 to 10, or you take a deep breath like this, or you start counting 1, 2, so on and so forth. So when you become angry, there are certain situations wherein your rage, your anger may lead to a serious consequences. So it is better in that situation to keep calm. You take a deep breath, or you start counting 1, 2, 3. A lot of time it may help to diffuse the situation, and you may not react to that situation, and it may not lead to what is called serious consequences. So these are very few activities which I like you to do, because in life a person would always face certain instances in life when he or she is angry, when he or she is provoked. But in certain situation, it is always better to keep calm. It is always to control your emotion or your rage, because if you do not control your emotion or your rage, this may lead to what is called serious consequences. So it is always better to keep calm in such situation. So in today's lecture, I have talked about what are the various features of a person, especially children who are maladjusted. I've talked about how they become what is called weak in their studies. They have short attention span. Then it hampers their academic achievement. I have also talked about how maladjustment, a maladjustment individual would have certain behavior, or would have certain, there are certain features by which you can see that a person is maladjusted, by the way he or she dresses, by the way he or she reacts or gesture. The gestures would be vulgar. The gesture would be, touching others, making others uncomfortable, and so on and so forth. I have also talked about the various strategies to help a maladjusted child. I would like to tell you, dear learners, as a person, I am not talking about being a teacher. I'm not talking about just being a parent. As a person, as an individual, you and I have a great role to play in making adjustment in life. You and I, you need not be a very famous person. You may not achieve very high academically, but as a person, as a member of a society, you have a very huge role to play. If you are a well-adjusted person, if you are a person who is comfortable in life, happy in life, you would also make ways. You would also be able to make ways for others to adjust in the society. So as members of the society, each one of us have a role to play, so that each one of us have a well-adjusted life. Each one of us have what is called a peaceful and harmonious environment to live. So it is up to you and me whether we become a well-adjusted person or a maladjusted person. And there are many strategies, many interventions by which you can help a person who is maladjusted. For example, you can talk to the person, or you can, counsel the person, or at times you can be a good listener by talking to the person, counseling to the person. These are some of the very effective, simple ways by which you can help maladjustment be addressed properly. So, dear learners, today we have talked about maladjustment. I have talked about how important it is to inculcate values of adjustment in people, and I have talked about how by helping others, by developing positive values, by talking, by adjusting well with others in the society, society, you can help bring people who are maladjusted into the mainstream of the society. Thank you so much. With this particular lecture, I have finished BEDS 002 week 8, wherein we have talked about adjustment disorder, maladjustment and values. Thank you so much.